Hi everyone, and welcome to the Leo weekly tarot bite reading for the week of July 17th through the 23rd. This is I Am Illuminated tarot reading for Soul Illumination. My name is Lauren. Hi and welcome. To everyone who is returning, thank you so much for your continued support. It means a great deal to me. For those of you who are new, I hope you get something useful out of this reading. So we are looking today at the energies for the week ahead for the sign of Leo. And we are basing this reading off of the two main themes that came out in the general collective reading that is posted up my channel. It's posted on Sunday if you'd like to view the full reading. But the two cards that came out were Poised and the King of Pentacles. Now, Poised really represents us getting ready. This is that breather week. This is the week between the cycle we're closing out and the next cycle beginning. And there's some big kind of planetary transitions happening and this weekend that are really going to push each one of us to kind of face that fear of taking the leap into really the new version of ourselves. So we have Venus going retrograde in Leo on the 22nd. It's a big retrograde. It's actually going to last through September. And it's really going to ask each one of us to really look at what we value and how we integrate that and how we really bring that into our heart space as well, and how we live from that place of what we value. There's also a sense as well as we have the North and the South Node moving out of Taurus and Scorpio into the North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra. We are getting that feeling, that big push of the I, recognition of the self versus kind of dimming our light to placate others. And so there's going to be this kind of dynamic this week of like really getting good with that self-confidence, getting good with a lot of the changes that we probably have been experiencing over the past maybe 18 months in total, but probably just over the past few months, and getting really ready into, again, seeing how we can apply a new focus on the self, but bring it into a way that is in alignment with what we value. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing now is pulling some clarifiers so we can see what each one of these cards is really speaking to for you, Leo. Now, the King of Pentacles also came out and really spoke to allowing each one of us to realize that in this past cycle that's closing out, we've all mastered something in the physical that we need to really recognize for ourselves, be proud of, and get ready to apply that with confidence in the next cycle that's starting for us. It also spoke to committing to the plan, which is always a good thing when we're starting a new cycle. So, and when we think about a plan, this is committing to a plan in the physical. This is really getting to those action steps that we can start to apply step by step to bring, as you can see, this little fairy is poised to really bring that star above her head into her physical experience. So that's kind of what we're each doing here, getting ready to pull that dream, that guiding principle that we want, and getting ready to pull it into the physical for ourselves. Okay, so we have the Page of Wands for the Poised. Beautiful energy. This is the energy of play. This is the energy of doing what feels good, working with your passion, but in a way that's very innocent and childlike. You can see there's like a innocent child playing with a wand over her head. Now, with the Three of Swords, there's also a sense of really taking a look at the wounding that you have as well. Maybe perhaps wounding. This could actually be kind of like inner child wounding. This could be actually be kind of an emotional week for you, Leo, especially we're moving into your sign at the end of the week. So it's almost going to be your season, Leo. But there's also a sense here, I think, for many of you, as Venus moves into your sign and goes retrograde, of you really looking at maybe where you have pushed away a certain sense of yourself, of what you enjoy doing, of maybe the part of yourself that you haven't allowed to shine in kind of this innocent way, based on how it was hurt in the past, based on maybe how people responded to that part of yourself. And this is really saying that this new chapter might be really where you get a chance to shine, or you really get a chance to get back to that kind of innocent place of play, innocent place of showing who you are, working with your own fire and passion as well, and doing so from a place of, this is fun, this is me being curious again about what I love to do and what lights my fire. And this might be that kind of, it could be like a point where it's a little emotional, because you might, as you get kind of excited about, probably feeling your season about to start, something might come up where you're like, oh, I love doing this, or I remember how good it felt when I did this hobby, or I showed this part of myself. And then all of a sudden there's going to be this sense of something might trigger you. Something might pull up, a time when somebody made fun of you when you tried to, to do this the last time, or when maybe it wasn't, this passionate part of yourself wasn't well received. And it's also that as you move into this next cycle for yourself, you can really get clear as to how much you've grown since then. To really, I think also sometimes it helps us to see the individuals who wounded us perhaps, and see the circumstances. And now that we have kind of moved past those, we can have that kind of beauty of hindsight to really say, I can see that person for who they were, and I see the wounding that they were acting out from, or maybe they didn't know. This could be like where a parent told you, like maybe you were highly artistic and you loved to have artistic expression, or maybe you were very dramatic and you wanted to be in the theater, and you had a parent who didn't understand that. And so a parent, maybe was harsh or highly critical of that part of yourself. And now you look back and say, but that's just because my parent didn't know any better. Now that I've been out in the world, I see that people can make money from painting. I see that people can make money from being, a thespian, or whatever it is. And you know what? I can forgive that person for having that viewpoint, because that's all that they knew. There's something, or maybe you realize now that person was just simply trying to protect you, but you realize at this point in your life, you don't need that protecting anymore. So there is an element here where you might be going out to do something that just feels good. You might express a part of yourself from just like, I'm going to do it. And then something triggers you again. Maybe somebody in your, environment says the same thing that somebody, from your childhood said, or that bully, like maybe you meet somebody in the workplace that represents that bully that you once had when you were younger. And it's like, oh my God, I'm not going to do this again. Brings it up and says, you know what? I'm still going to show this part of myself, because I'm not going to lock it away in this next cycle. Like I did before. There's a sense here of kind of coming out. I get the feeling, Leo, like coming out as this child at play, like letting, there's a sense of kind of letting your freak flag fly and just saying, this is me, and I'm owning it this time. And yes, okay, so for the King of Pentacles, we have the Empress. Beautiful energy for that. So when we're looking at kind of committing to the plan, we're also looking at where maybe you have mastered something in the physical. There's a sense of really mastering the feminine energy, which is interesting. Really mastering the art of holding space for what you want to come into your experience, maybe understanding the element of patience that comes with creativity, patience that comes with, again, what we're trying to grow. Anyone who's ever gardened or planted a seed and watched it grow, it doesn't just happen overnight, unless it's a chia seed. But there's something of that. There's a feeling of having mastered that energy of receptivity, of also receiving possibly. That's a very hard thing to master. A lot of times we're more in the way because we want to protect ourselves. We want to push. We want to do it ourselves. And it can be very hard to become vulnerable and get into that state of receiving. And I do get the feeling that many of you, that's what you've mastered. You've mastered this ability to create. You've mastered your ability to hold space. And then we have the Hanged Man, which is interesting because the Hanged Man speaks to a change in perspective. And the change in perspective with the Empress, this might be a change in perspective around, again, being in a state of receiving. Or maybe many of you saw that as weak at some point. Maybe you didn't honor, again, your own creative energy. Maybe you were trying to constantly push forward on something. And now you get a chance to really see that feminine energy from a new perspective, to see how important it is to hold space, how important it is to be patient, how important it is to nurture something, but also how important it is to apply it from yourself, what you uniquely can create, what you uniquely want to hold space for, not what someone else is pushing on you, or with the Three of Swords, someone else is kind of, bullying you or badgering you to do. It's really realizing our life manifests around us from what we hold space for, from what we actually, and then from our own creative experience. So for some of you, this might be an interesting shift, where you move out of a place of maybe you were very, again, maybe there wasn't a lot of play in this last cycle, and now you're moving into a space where you get a chance to kind of use your magic wand, get rid of all of those swords that are up there, just, again, stabbing you in the emotional plane, but through those memories. And you get into a place of just honoring your creativity and using your passions like that magic wand to start to bring into your experience what you want. It has to start first with that emotional connection through what we're passionate about and how we share that with others. And I think there could also be a sense here too of really focusing with the Empress. There's this energy of the home, of the family, of the mother archetype. And so for many of you, maybe you want to become a mother. Maybe you want to move into this. Maybe this can be where maybe some of you, if you're, let's say, it could be actually, you could be female or male or however you choose to identify. This could be where you were like, I don't want to be a parent. I've never wanted to be a parent. I want to be the working person, that kind of thing. Or I just don't want to have children. And this is where all of a sudden you get this realization as you move into this next cycle of, you know what, I have a totally different perspective on being a parent. I realize that this is what I want to bring into my experience. And for some of you, that could be it. Sometimes the Page of Wands can represent like bringing in a child like this into your experience, which could be what that's your star, is looking at, I want to be a parent, and I want to pull that down into my experience, and my whole perspective on being a parent has changed. But I do get a sense that there's more, that there is a realization of just with this past cycle this week of really reflecting on how much you've mastered the feminine energy, how much you've mastered the art of opening yourself up to receive help and love and support from others, and how much also you've opened yourself up to realizing your own creative potential and the patience that it takes as you are moving into this new cycle to kind of bring that with you, to realize, again, kind of where your attention goes, energy flows. And it may take 10 years for something to manifest, but it will, with the right patience and the holding space for that. And again, just keep in mind, don't let that inner child, that fiery, passionate, curious individual, let that individual come out and really kind of help burn past all of those the ghosts of the past wounding away. Bottom of the deck, we have one of your cards, Leo. We have Strength. I love it. It's just saying hold true to that lion-hearted part of yourself, the courage to show who you are authentically, the courage to also hold space for that dream to come in for yourself. All right, I will leave it there. I hope you all have a wonderful week ahead. If you'd like to book a personal reading, you can click on the link in the description box below to visit my website. Otherwise, the full July tarot scope for each sign is up on my channel if you'd like to view yours. And August full tarot scopes will be starting to be released at the end of this month. If you'd like to get notifications, you can click on the notification reminder there so that you'll see when those get posted. Otherwise, I will see you all next week for the next weekly Tarot Bite reading. Bye, Leo.